everyone, SavDrives here, and today I'm reviewing the Chevrolet C7 Stingray Z51 3LT. I've been driving Corvettes for the past 4 years. This is actually my second Corvette, and they were both the C7 platform. The first one I owned with a bit of a newer model with the 8-speed transmission. This one has the 6-speed transmission. So first off, I wanted to talk a bit about the styling. This car has some very aggressive lines, as you can see, going up the body here. It's very sharp, really sharp lines all around. It's a very wide and very long vehicle. Here this model has the cyber gray metallic. It's a very reflective surface once the car is washed, and it gives it a very cool look overall here. Some really cool touches here that Chevy added to this C7 model is, if you look up here in the headlights, you can see the Chevy logo right there in the headlights. There's another small Easter egg here when it comes to that, and that would be in the rear glass here. You could see the Chevy emblems all the way here through the glass. Some really cool touches in this car, and really aggressive styling overall. Very cool looking car. I love the design, and it's actually my favorite design out of the Corvette lineup. So talk a little more here about the storage in the car. So popping the hood, popping the trunk, not the hood, and taking a look here, you do have a fair bit of good room here. There's this separator which can be removed, but I keep it and I put smaller items back there, and then some larger items I will put back here. But one thing to keep in mind is when you close it, you don't have that much clearance because of this top section here. It lays down very flat. One cool thing Chevy added is this here, so if something actually doesn't fit, it will kind of hit this first so you can tell, and it won't hit your glass right away. So if you see this stretching, you'll kind of know, you know, maybe I need to shift things around. Here's a little handle here to close that. On the newer model, like the 2016 onwards, I believe the trunk is a soft close trunk. On this one it is not, so you kind of have to give it a push yourself. So let me pop the hood here and talk a little more about what's under the engine here. Alright, so going down here to pop the hood, and there we go. And once you pop the hood on this car, there's something really cool. It is super light. It's a clamshell design. When I lift the hood here, you can see very little effort to get this thing open here. It's so light on this car. So a little bit of fading on the Corvette logo here. That's really the only thing that's faded on here. We have a 6.2 V8 here, pushing about 460 horsepower and 465 pound-foot of torque. The 0 to 60 is about 3.8 seconds on this car. It weighs about 3,360 pounds. I also have a carbon fiber intake on this car, which is really cool. It's made by Corsa Performance. So if you want to take a look at that here, there's that over there. The car has an ECU tune and a custom exhaust, which we'll give a listen to here shortly. So yeah, let me close this hood back up, and have a really cool Corvette emblem up here also on the liner. It's very easy to close this. Kind of taps in two sections, the left side, and then when you come back here, you also need to make sure it locks on this side. So that way the hood is closed. Very secure, very nice. One quick touch I've done here on the car, this front grille here is the Z06 grille. I've upgraded the styling from the base grille, which kind of looks like the car is wearing braces. I don't really love that. That's why I changed the grille out on this one, and overall the car looks incredible. I love the design on this car. So let me jump in the car here and talk a little more about the controls. So getting in the car here is a little tricky. If you're not used to it, especially if you're 6'4" like me, I'm a very tall person, it can get a bit tricky. But once you're in, it's actually quite comfortable. There's plenty of room for someone as tall as me. Over here you have your heads-up display controls and the brightness that controls them. So you can pump up the brightness on that heads-up display. I'm not sure if it's coming up over there, but you can see it kind of down there in the glass. This control will control how high or low you want it. and this will control what info it displays. Really cool here. Another thing you have is you have this button here. If you want to store something behind your screen, you can kind of click that and you can store some stuff in there. You have your climate control buttons down here at the vents, and it's really cool that you have a little screen here that indicates your controls. There's also another one down there for the passenger side. In order to get out of the car, it's very simple. You just hit this button down here and you can kind of get in and out of the car. You have your mirror controls here, your cruise controls are here. Anything to control this front screen here would happen on this side, and you can kind of toggle between that. Something that's really nice here is in this sport theme that I have, you can actually control the gauges on the left and right. So let's see here. Okay, so let's say you don't want to see your battery here, you want to see your transmission temperature. So I have here battery, and I can change this to transmission temperature, and you could, you know, have some custom view here. This doesn't happen in the other themes though, it's just in the sport theme. Some other themes you have here are the track theme, you have the touring theme, and then there's the sport theme, which is the one I have currently on. So let me talk a little about the things I do not like about the C7 and the problems I've had with it. So one of the first things is getting in the car. My knee will almost always hit that trunk button and the trunk will open. This has been quite embarrassing a few times, especially when I'm getting out of the car, but again, I'm a very tall person, so things like that happen, right? The other thing is whenever it rains, the rear view camera, you will barely see anything out of it. One reason is the rain will cover it. Another reason is when it's cold and I reverse, the exhaust fumes, this could be because it's a custom exhaust though, will fog up the camera very quickly. So that can be annoying, but it's really not a big deal. So another issue I've had with the C7 Corvette, and this has happened on both models I've owned, is for some reason when you full blast the blower fan, if you have this vent open, it will close. I can try to demonstrate that here. So let me fully blast this. And as you can see, as it comes on, I'll get closer here to the vent so you can see. So you saw that just like magic. I did not even touch it, and if I push it open, it will slowly work its way back and close. It's a very odd little thing in this car that I don't, I mean, I don't completely understand, but I guess the vents are so strong, so that always ends up happening. But overall, the cabin is very comfortable. It's very, very nice to be in. I have this model. It's a special, you know, trim with the Z51, so it's kind of a suede finish. Suede brown finish with this lovely brown stitching here on the car. So overall, there isn't much storage in this car, so that's why I have my phone holder here. So I kind of, you know, put my phone here when I'm driving. You have very little storage here, and some little storage back there, and then you have some here in the cubbies. But overall, the storage isn't amazing in this car, but you know, it's definitely great for a sports car, and that is something I really like about this car. Yeah, very comfortable car overall. With the Magna Ride suspension, it is extremely comfortable, so I do love that about the car. Let me give you a quick exhaust note here from in the car. And as you can see, this thing sounds amazing. Another thing I don't completely love about this car is the speaker system. I know it's a Bose system, but it actually does not sound all that great. I mean, even compared to some cars that aren't that, you know, expensive. I used to own a Toyota Sequoia, for example, and it had the JBL sound system, and it actually sounded better than this. Let me show you something interesting here. So if I crank up the bass on this car, and I'll raise the volume, and I'll just show you one observation I have. So one thing is, I just think maybe the sound isn't all that bad, but the isolation on the doors isn't great, so it makes it sound worse. So let me just play a song here really loud and show you one strange thing in this car from outside. So this happened on also both the Corvettes I owned. If you push up the bass and raise the volume, could you hear that from the outside? It's kind of funny, right? It's very strange, and it always only happens on the driver's side. You can't hear it on the passenger side. Just a very odd thing with this car, and you know, I've noticed it on several C7s. That's why I have the bass turned down all the way in this car. Another thing that's great about the C7 Corvette is the fact that this roof does come off. It's actually very easy to take off. All you need to do is really, you pull this handle right here, you go here, you pull that handle there, and then down here you click here, and that pops open, and then you can actually push this top off. You can just take it off and store it in the back, and then once you're done, you put it back on. You just click this, put that there, put that there, and then you close these and you're done. It's very, very simple. One thing to mention though is if you forget to latch the top, the car will not warn you, and once you start driving it will fly off. Trust me, it's happened to me before. Okay, so let's jump a little into the driving experience now. So just giving you an engine note with the revs here. As you can see, the car sounds amazing. The experience with the Corvette is, it's really a very fun car to drive overall. I've really enjoyed the dynamics of the car. The car steers very beautifully. It's very, the steering is very tight, especially when you toggle through these drive modes here with the selector down here. And once you do, you can get some really great response from this car, especially in that sport mode. The gears kind of feel tighter, and it shifts much stronger. So I've really enjoyed that in this car. It's very, very powerful, very, very responsive. Something that I've noticed in this car is I actually seem to prefer this 6-speed transmission over the previous 8-speed, and I know that's not what most people say when it comes to this car. Most people actually say that the 8-speed is better, but with the current tune I have on the car, I feel like that 6-speed really does pack quite a punch. It kicks really well once I get the car going, especially when the performance shift mode gets active here. So there's something about it that just is really nice. It's very punchy. The only thing I did not like about that 8-speed is at times I felt like it was a little indecisive. I don't know if this one is more responsive because of the tune, to be completely fair, but it's definitely more fun in my opinion, having driven both. One of the things that takes getting used to with the C7 is coming from other cars, this steering provides a lot of feedback when you're driving, so it can feel very odd when you have wide tires and you feel every little imperfection in the road as you drive, and that can be quite daunting if you're not used to that experience. However, it just takes some getting used to. One thing that was mentioned in the owner's manual was around that effect of the wider tires really following every little imperfection in the road, and like I said, yes, that does take some getting used to, but it's once you're used to it, you realize how beautiful and how much grip this car actually has. So it's a very, very grippy car. We're coming up on the highway here, and I can give the car a bit of a punch here. So let's see how she does. I'm gonna bring it down here. let's go down to about 20. All right, and here we go. So yeah, went a little faster than I wanted there, but as you can see, car sounds incredible, packs quite a punch. It really doesn't leave you wanting any more power or anything like that. It seems to do the job perfectly fine. It's super responsive, gets on the power quite immediately. It's so light that it's very easy to kind of move around with it with very little input in the steering. You can see here the car actually moves quite immediately. I've only experienced similar feels in cars like the Porsche 911, for example, but that's a much tighter kind of steering feel. It is more responsive for sure. When I've tested Ferraris, they're more dialed in, but what you get with this is definitely quite an amazing experience. The car really responds quite great. So I do want to talk a bit about the manual shifting mode in this car, and when you hit these two I don't know what to call them, like flaps here, the car will shift down and up in gear, right? But in D mode or in auto mode, it's eventually going to go out of that gear. So if I downshift here, you can see if I stay in this gear for a while, it's eventually going to pull itself back out into D. If I really want to stay in gear, I would have to put the car down here in M, which is the manual mode, and it will really hold that gear. So it adds that little bit of additional control that you want, and it's very nice to have that in this car. It does come in handy if you're having a track day, which I've tracked this car before. It does great on the track. Surprisingly, it does not feel, you know, like you have a huge engine at the front or anything. It takes the corners quite well. It handles turns quite well, and it really does a great job doing that. So yeah, other than that, in terms of you know, attention, this car does get quite a bit of attention when you drive it around. I know there's a lot of Corvettes out there, but most of the attention I get are usually, you know, other Corvette people asking me about the car, or you know, questions of that sort or type, really. So I do enjoy those conversations most of the time. A lot of those people are knowledgeable on this platform and know quite a bit about this car. So it's always fun to have these conversations. Other than that, let's talk about fuel economy here a bit. So if you go here to the menu, you can pull through and see what you're averaging. So over the last 50 miles, I averaged about 15 miles per gallon. It's not really the best, but you know, it depends really. When you take this car on the highway, it does do a lot better. Sometimes it will get 27, and maybe I can kind of pull that over here. Yeah, so you could see in my instant fuel economy, I'm averaging about 34. I don't think that's completely accurate. I'd say it's closer to 27-30. So one thing I do recommend with these cars is if you do get your hands on one, go ahead and remove that 4-cylinder deactivation system. You can purchase a range module which plugs into your ECU and will take care of that and disable it for you. There is another option, which is to just get an ECU tune. That's the option I went with on this car. So this car does have it's ECU tuned, and it's automatically disabling these 4 cylinders when I'm driving around. It's always in V8 mode, so I really don't have anything else to worry about here. Now, in terms of comfort, I think this car is very comfortable. I am 6'4". I'm very tall. I was actually looking at some other cars before I bought this car, namely the Porsche Cayman S. I did not really fit all that well in that car. I've also tried the Jaguar F-Type. I found it to be a little uncomfortable also. So the thing I really like about the Corvette is, I mean, I'm really tall and I still have a bit of room around my knees here. The only times when it gets really frustrating is really when I am trying to jump into the car when I'm getting in or out. So let's listen to this under the tunnel here. It just sounds amazing. Really good sounding car. So in terms of owning this car, so with my first Corvette, I've had it for 2 years. I've actually had 0 issues on the 2016 model. But again, that car was completely stock. So all I did on it was ever an oil and filter change. With this car, I've actually had almost no issues. The only issue I had was the transmission lines after my track day failed. And there was a bit of a leak coming from them. That leak worsened. I took it to the Chevy dealership. They quoted about $770 to change out those transmission lines. However, I have a friend who is very well versed in these cars, and he changed the transmissions lines for me with the OEM ones, and I was able to get that done for $400. So having had this model for the past 2 years, all it's really cost me was oil changes, which were about $100 for each time, and then the transmission change, which is $400. And keep in mind, I did take this car to the track, so I mean, honestly, it's amazing that that's all I had paid in this car's maintenance. Other than that, I did get a set of new tires on this vehicle, so those run about $1,400. But I mean, other than that, just mechanically, I really like the reliability on these cars. I think they are built to handle the power. They're built to be enjoyable, and they're built to be driven really and pushed to the limits. And I love that about the Corvette platform. You can look out there on the market. You'll see C5s with 200,000 miles, C6s, C7s. They all, you'll find high mileage ones, and that's just a testament to honestly how reliable these cars are. I've honestly never had any other issues out of what I've mentioned with the C7 platform. So it's a great car. You have the engine out in front. It's not complicated to work on. The engine isn't hidden somewhere in the middle of the car. It's very easy to work on this car. So that's another thing I really enjoy about this car and the C7 platform in general. All right, let's give it a punch. So, let me share my final thoughts on the C7 Corvette. It's a great car to own, it's really fast, it handles great, and it's quite reliable. If you can get past the small quirks that the car has, it's really a great car to own overall. Please like the video, subscribe, drop a comment, and let me know if you'd like to see more. Thank you for watching.